guys, welcome back to Southern Latitudes. I'm Robin and I garden in East Central Florida, and I'm zone 9B and slightly 10A. Sometimes I get away with that if it's a warm winter. But today's topic, I thought, it's way too hot. As you all know, it's not a news flash, but it's way too hot out there to work in the garden. And I am recovering from sickness, and the whole family had it. And so I don't want to overstress my body and go out there and start, losing a lot of sweat and all that. So I thought the best thing I can do is go over a couple things that I went to a couple different taste testing this year at a friend's house. Now, the first one we're going to talk about was paste tomato testing, and the other one was mangoes. So we'll just wrap it all up in one video, and I'll put the time. If you want to just jump ahead to the mangoes, I'll give you the time at this point for you to jump ahead. But anyhow, so I will be honest, I didn't grow these tomatoes, but she wanted a second opinion, and it's always fun to do that. And I do want to, I have grown Amish paste, I've grown San Marzanos, I've grown a lot of different paste tomatoes and wasn't really impressed with any of them, especially with our heat here in Florida. And so, and now I've seen other people, especially on videos, but also in person, say they absolutely love Amish paste tomatoes. But they were just okay. They weren't bad, they were just okay in my garden. I think that was 2 winters ago when we did it in the salsa garden. Might have been last winter. 2 winters ago. I feel like it was 2 winters ago. Anyhow, so today's paste tomatoes that we're going to talk about were the Salvatierra Select, the Federally, I hope I'm saying that right, the Alpaca, and then we just added in a couple other tomatoes that she had on the vine, the German Johnson, the Black Crim, and then the sixth one escapes me because I didn't catch it in the picture, and I don't want to bother my friend just for that, because it's actually tomato she and I had both ruled out anyhow, so it doesn't matter to us. So these are just my notes. Take it for what 2 cents, what it's worth to you. Maybe you absolutely love one of these and we didn't find it to be appealing. But that's okay. You grow what grows great in your garden, okay? There's no judgment about that. But we know this works for our little local area because my friend is local. So, okay, so let's go with Salvatierra Select. Okay, it's a thick-skinned paste tomato. It was pretty good size. It had great tomato flavor. And we found it to be a little on the sweet side, but it also had the good tomato flavor with it as well. So that was one of them that we put high up on our list. Now I did grow Salvatierra Select earlier this spring, but to be quite honest with you, it was smaller when I put it in compared to the other plants that went in first, and I had a couple die outs, so I replaced it with the Salvatierra Select. And to be quite honest with you, I think they got smushed out with light and nutrition and water, and they just didn't ever have their best life in my garden. So I want to give those a second try, I believe. So then the Federally, or Federal, Federle, I'll put it down below. I was really impressed with this. I've never heard of this tomato before, but it had a really intense tomato flavor, something you would love to put in your sauces. And it was a little on the less sweet side. So it was really good for like when you want to make a savory, for example, like a tomato sauce or something like that, you would really, or a paste, you would want something like this, very savory, to go into your canning tomatoes. It outperformed all the rest on the vine. So that was really important to us as well. It held up much longer in the heat of late spring, early summer. I think it's probably died now. Maybe she'll let us know in the comments below. but it did hang on an extra month beyond, the regular vine tomatoes, the slicers, the ones you put in tomato sandwiches and stuff. So we were both really impressed with that. The alpaca, again, new to me. I hadn't heard about this. It was a good size. It was sweet, but it had a little bit less of a tomato flavor. It might actually be okay, in things like perhaps a salsa or picante or something. But to me, it kind of ruled it out, because why grow tomato if it's not going to be strong in tomato flavor? And it is sweet, so that's up to you on if you want to grow something like that. Now the German Johnson, we tried just for fun, because it was large. It did grow pretty large. We thought perhaps it could be a paste substitute. Well, it was very juicy, which means that's going to be a lot of water for you to cook down. So probably if you want more meatier tomato, you're going to want to go with that. Something else. We found it to be light in the tomato flavor. So again, another one of her comments was watered down. So some of these are my comments. They may sound the same, but that's because some of them were her comments, some were mine. I just wrote down everything for our notes. So probably, if I remember right, this was an average growing tomato. It's probably an heirloom, but didn't pass the paste test. I grew black brandywine tomatoes this spring, and they were very delicious, but they were not prolific at all. But the flavor was incredibly rich. They were actually sweet. They were pretty meaty. So as opposed to my black brandywine, she grew black Krim in her garden, and of course she thought it was better now than times past when she'd grown it before. We're all always growing, right, and learning how to grow a better tomato. And but it was still very juicy. It had a lot of acid in the black Krim, and therefore sometimes to me it kind of had a smoky-ish flavor without being under smoker. Sometimes that translates into bitter, so just know that. And then in the last tomato, we had it. I thought it was naturally salty, but that came across as sour to the other lady. It was okay flavor, but it wasn't a paste tomato for us. So I have to say, I'm pretty much convinced we're gonna give the Salvatierra Select and the Federally, however you say it. Correct me down in the comments below. We're gonna give those two a try. I don't know if I'll do that in the fall, but for sure in spring. I'll give a separate row just to those two paste tomatoes and see if we can't get some really, I probably will hold off on fall and go to spring, because I don't need any more tomato jars in the pantry right now. We did really fill up the pantry after this beautiful spring harvest. So next we're going to talk about mangoes, and a lot of times at the end of the mango season, people will put their mango fruit up for sale, and you'll find quite a lot of variety out there, because you'll have, I don't know about early season, but you'll have the mid and the late season mangoes usually for sale. So what we were working with was the Haden, the chocolate, the Valencia Pride, Bailey's Miracle, and ice cream mangoes. So that was kind of neat to have 5 varieties at one time. We did have, we had a couple others, but they weren't ripe yet. So anyhow, these are the 5 that we tried. And so we cut them and we put them on a little platter. And I'll show you the picture of this. This is just to me to remember to talk off of. But you'll see the real thing down either in the corner or over me. So the first one we tried was the Haden mango. It was very bright, and we smelled it. It had a great citrusy, sweet smell. You really do taste food before it actually goes in your mouth, because you get the smells, you get the visual, and it was really appealing to us from the moment we laid eyes on it. And when we ate it, it had a bit of a tangerine flavor to it. It was very citrusy for a mango, which, you know, I'm used to just the stores, which are usually Glen mangoes, I think. And I had a curry mango the week before all this. Otherwise, I would have brought it to the party. But and that was very mango-y. But this Haden had more of a citrus notes to it. So the second one we ate was chocolate mango, which is a paler orange. And I thought right there and then, I was like, oh, it's probably not going to be something I would want for a mango. And the name chocolate alone was deceiving. It was slightly overripe as she was cutting it and preparing it, so we made note of that. But I have to say, when we ate it, my mind was blown. First of all, there was no chocolate flavor. The paleness did not equate to lack of flavor. It was very sweet. It was very vanilla, strong like vanilla notes and flavoring to it. By the time we pretty much ate most of this tray down, and by the end I was almost thinking I had a little bit of pineapple flavor to it, but for sure the vanilla. So I actually really like the chocolate mango. And oh, so my son also had some mangoes for himself too. He hated the chocolate. So it's all a preference thing, right? You know. So the third one we tried at this tasting was Valencia Pride, which was very yellow. It was slightly underripe, which I'm sad that I didn't get to taste the full ripeness, but you know, sometimes you get them, you think they're ripe, but they're not, they're a little under. It had a little bit more fiber to it, and that might have been because it was underripe. We did not have any strong smells when we smelled it. When we ate it, it was very tart, very sour, maybe a touch of lemony to it. Again, I don't know if the underripeness played into that or not. If you've had a Valencia Pride and loved it, tell me what you thought it tasted like, because maybe we're biased because of the underripeness. The fourth one we tried was Bailey's Miracle. Again, very new to me. I never tried this one before. It was a smaller mango, if that's appealing to you. It was bright orange colored, and just like it looked, it was very cantaloupe-like. You know, when you know how the cantaloupes are so orange, right? And so when you're going to eat it, I don't think it was a mind trick, but it really did have a cantaloupe flavor to it, or melon-ish. That was maybe another way that she described it. So it was interesting. It was good, but for me, I want a mango to taste like a mango. And maybe if you're a mango connoisseur, you want the variety of something, you know, more vanilla-y, more cantaloupe-y, more whatever, citrusy. Okay, and the last one we tried was ice cream, which was a bit of a sunflower yellow in color. It had a very strong mango smell to it. It was extremely, well, let me back it up. It was overripe just by a little bit. It was right on the edge. It was perfectly fine. There was nothing tainted about it, but it was right at the peak of ripeness. And because of that, it just melted in our mouth. You put a piece in, it was like cotton candy. It's creamy, no fiber at all, melted in your mouth. I have to say, I can totally see where they got the name ice cream mango for this. I loved it. Now, it's funny, I was reading somebody else's comments about mangoes, and she hated ice cream mango. I don't want to call her out because she's entitled to her own perception and 2 cents an opinion and whatever. So that's okay. But for me, so me and this other lady, we ranked them 1 through 5, and we ended up with the same exact numbers for all of the mangoes, for all 5. So here's the order we put them in from favorite to least favorite. So we picked ice cream first. There was just, to us, it was just amazing. That creaminess was beautiful. The chocolate, really loved the vanilla. Third was Haden, because it was just a really good mango. Slight citrus. And then fourth was Bailey's Miracle. So I put it down because I really just don't want cantaloupe in my mango. But if you're looking for that, that might go up high on your list. Oh, and I forgot to mention, so I could also kind of taste pumpkin-ish in it. Now, the other lady did not, I don't think she tasted pumpkin. She just stayed with cantaloupe and melon. But to me, don't be mad, but it was a little off-putting to have the pumpkin in there for me for mango. It would not be a tree I put in my yard. So I put it at number 4. And then the Valencia Pride. Sorry, no, I don't want any tart or sour mangoes. Or fiber. If we put any mangoes in this yard, none of them will have fiber in them, which we have Pickering mango, which is also non-fibrous. So that was the order of how we ranked our mangoes. But anyhow, it was just fun, and this is great information to have and to put in my reference library of taste testing. I have a whole playlist of taste testing. I'll put it over here at the end of this video, and then you guys can check out. I also have one on different squash. I have one on different peppers, and I'm not sure what else I have, but from time to time I like to do taste testing because it's good to maybe you want to revisit those flavors again and grow them the next year in your garden. So you guys, I hope you're doing well in this heat. Stay out of the heat, drink plenty of water and fluids, and enjoy your pools or your air conditioning. Read a good book, maybe a book about gardening, huh? So you guys take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.